Hello there and welcome to Beyond Business, the program where we look at competition in the global economy. Today we're bringing you a report on a small country with big ambitions. Along with other countries in Southeast Asia, Laos has been living in the shadow of China's economic rise. But as Chinese costs are heading higher, manufacturers are looking beyond the world's second biggest economy, and Laos is one of those countries that are hoping to tap into that. Its economy is showing annual growth above 8%, and it has ambitions to become a middle-income economy by 2020. What's the potential and what are the pitfalls? A team from France 24 traveled to Laos to find out.
Et maintenant, je déclare officiellement l'inauguration de la semaine française au Laos. Je vous remercie de votre attention.
Lao government ministers, French MPs, ambassadors and businessmen all gathered for this inaugural Vientiane rendezvous, the first in the Lao capital, still a communist country, but which is slowly opening up to market forces. Laos may be a small nation with 6.5 million inhabitants, but it has big ambitions to become a vital economic hub for Southeast Asia. With 150 exhibitors, a program of seminars and business meetings, the goal is to boost commercial ties between Paris and Vientiane. The rendezvous is the brainchild of French businessman Alain Daoust and the result of years of work.
It is surprising to see things materialize, actually. When you had the idea, and then one day you see it become reality. I can't say I'm not moved.
Alain Daoust knows Laos well. He's been living here for 14 years. Having served as a military officer, he left France and threw himself into the tourist industry. He now runs about 10 companies.
This is the building where we've grouped together a number of our companies. So now we're going into the most important office in the building, my wife's. She's on the phone as ever. I would like to present to you DUANGMALA, PHOMMAVONG, who beyond being my wife is of course the managing director of most of our businesses in Laos.
DUANGMALA is in charge of EXOTISSIMO, a tour operator. A decade ago, tourism was almost inexistent. Now Laos is an increasingly sought-after vacation destination.
EXOTISSIMO, par exemple, le jour qu'on a créé en 2002,
Take EXOTISSIMO, for example. When we set it up in 2002, we had 600 customers that year. Now we get 8,000 customers every year. Growth has been considerable. Of course, we appreciate the fact that it can be an asset to help the country develop, as it generates jobs and revenue. But in terms of the country's image, we've still got work to do. We rely on our strengths, nature, people, and our way of life.
That way of life is helping to attract 3 million tourists a year to the nation known as the land of a million elephants, many seduced by the country's easy living and slow pace.
It's not only the landscapes that are often almost untouched by human presence, but also a population that has really preserved its freshness, its spontaneity, its sense of hospitality that has sadly disappeared from other regions of the world.
Qui malheureusement a disparu dans beaucoup d'autres régions du monde.
It's not just that hospitality that's attracting attention to Laos. Its growth rate too is enviable. At 8%, it's the strongest rate in Southeast Asia. Tourism contributes to that, but so too do the country's other assets like its mining resources, agroforestry and hydroelectricity. This is the Nam Ton 2 Dam in the east of the country, close to the border with Vietnam. The project is the fruit of a partnership between the Lao government and a group of Franco-Thai investors backed by utilities giant EDF. The dam provides 20% of the country's electricity. The rest is exported, most to Thailand.
These 4 units we call Francis, they each produce 250 megawatts. That's the power we sell to Thailand. 95% of our electricity is destined for Thailand. The other 5% is produced by 2 small machines. We call them the pelotons. They can produce 35 megawatts. So there you can see we've got 21 megawatts for Laos and 980 megawatts for Thailand.
EDF is the principal shareholder of the dam. Despite the country's poor infrastructure, the French electricity company favouring Laos, largely thanks to its natural advantages.
With a low level of investment and engineering input, we can construct a reservoir of 8 billion cubic meters, which is very considerable. Of course, it's also a superb opportunity to show off the hydraulic project that EDF and its partners can build.
Amongst the beneficiaries, the Laos state itself, which earns $2 billion a year from the project, 8% of its national budget. That windfall didn't come cheap, though. Entire villages had to be moved.
Alors, ici, ce qu'on voit devant nous, il y avait de la forêt.
So you can see here in front of us, there used to be forests. There used to be marshland and agricultural land for rice and vegetable crops. There used to be other rivers as well. The villages were rebuilt in consultation with the villagers. We respected their needs in terms of space.
Balancing then the needs of the population with the gradual opening up of the economy. A similar story at this textile factory in Vientiane. Alpilao makes clothes for brands like Jemo, Benetton or Sisley. Here Laos's competitive advantages are clear. 1 in 3 Lao lives on less than $1.25 a day, and wages are lower than in China or Vietnam. Customs duties with Europe are also kept in check with the GSP, the Generalized System of Preferences, that cuts tariffs with less developed countries.
We are still competitive because we enjoy the GSP Plus. It's a least developed country. It's a zero duty for Europe for import, garment factory. And then we have, comparatively, we are cheap labor. If you take Vietnam is about $90 to $100. Laos is minimum wage is $78. So compared to among the region, we are one of the cheapest actually. Not very cheap, but still cheaper on that one.
Preserving the cheap labour and ensuring Laos remains competitive. Twin factors contributing towards a clear goal, catching up with the country's larger neighbours. Controlled by an authoritarian communist party since 1975, in 2 years' time Laos is set to join the common market of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN.
The economy of Laos is already a market economy. We realize that with the integration into ASEAN, we will face a lot of competition, but we're determined to be part of the common market. We are ready.
Tanon Singh Kanlaya is also ready to face international competition. For the past 16 years, he's run an IT company that now employs 65 people.
When we started, we only had 5 employees. But over the past 16 years, the demand for consumer products and IT services has increased every year, and more so. The environment is different. There will be things to do in the future in Thailand, Vietnam or Burma, and so on. But at the moment, we're really focused on here in Laos because the market is growing. And even just here, we're struggling to meet all the orders.
That demand has already attracted the interest of French investors. France is Laos's primary European partner. SDV, a logistics and transport company, already has a network across Asia, so getting involved in Laos was a no-brainer.
If you look at the evolution of Asian markets, you see the price of labor is less attractive, notably in China. That is likely to provoke a situation where there will be opportunities to transfer productions toward a certain number of ASEAN nations, including Laos. There's Cambodia too, and of course, there's been a lot of talk about Burma.
A similar business strategy has been adopted by Essilor. The eyeglass lens maker has just opened a factory in the special economic zone in Savanaket in the south of the country. Its director sees Laos as a launchpad.
I think it can be a training platform, in the real sense of physical or technical training. For a company that is just setting up here, but doesn't yet have the means or the know-how to set up in Vietnam, Thailand, or China. Basically, Laos is an interesting platform for me to fine-tune everything before heading off to the neighboring countries.
A good starting point then, generating little risk and which is above all cheap.
You can start up with capital in the region of $50,000, 40,000 or so euros. It's really a place where an entrepreneur can come and set up shop in a very stable context. Then, he can use his skills and ideas to develop his business.
Laos's main attraction then is to serve as a doorway into the wider ASEAN region. Now the government's task is to initiate the necessary economic reforms to further attract investment. The next opportunity to measure that progress coming in 2 years' time at the next Vientiane rendezvous.
Okay, with that, we're going to wrap up this edition of Beyond Business. Thank you for watching, and do stay with us here at France 24. Don't forget either that you can get more business news on our website, www.france24.com. Stay with us.